Most leaders underestimate the influence they already have. They think impact comes from being louder, smarter, or more forceful. Can I just tell you something? It doesn't. It comes from something far more practical and far more difficult. Hi, I'm Carl Piester. For more than 3 decades, I've coached senior leaders who make decisions that shape entire organizations. And here's what I know. Your influence is not determined by your title. It's determined by how you show up in the moments that matters. I'm going to say that again. Your influence is not determined by your title. It's determined by how you show up in the moments that matter. Today I want to talk about just 3 simple shifts that help you maximize your leadership impact, no matter where you sit in the organization. Number 1, influence starts with presence, not position. When I coach leaders stepping into bigger roles, I see the same pattern. They try to earn influence by proving themselves. They talk more, they push harder, they're tougher, they try to fill every space in the room. But the leaders who truly have impact, they walk in differently. They pause, they observe, they listen, they understand the room before they try to move it. Why don't we just spend the next 10 minutes repeating that last sentence? They understand the room before they try to move it. Can you do that? Before you try to move the room in a certain direction, take the time to understand it. Influence begins with presence, the ability to stay aware, stay grounded, and stay engaged without being reactive. A simple question to start every meeting, to say it to yourself: what does this room need from me right now? Not my ego, not my frustration, not what those 2 things need, but the actual room. Take time to look around the room. The people that frustrate you, the people that make you angry, the people that you wonder why the company ever hired. That's your ego, that's your frustration in the way. But figure out how you can move those people. That one pause changes everything. And I'm not exaggerating there. It changes everything because it puts your filters in the right place. Number 2, impact grows when you create, not control. Leadership is not about controlling outcomes. It's about creating them. You create outcomes when you ask better questions, invite different thinking, and make it safe for people to tell the truth. Make it safe for them to tell the truth. Years ago, I worked with a leader who struggled because he believed impact came from directing everyone. He was a surgeon, and he was a superb surgeon, but he controlled things. In fact, I remember a conversation where he mentioned that he was looking forward to a meeting where, as he said, I can tell them where they were wrong. He knew me well enough by then that when I didn't say anything, he said, "Is there a problem with that?" And needless to say, we discussed a bit more about that and established a much more effective and sustainable approach, which he came back and, no big surprise, said worked really well. Not because I'm smart. It's just because people don't like to be told what to do. He went in, instead of the teller, he went in as the listener, and he created a sustainable solution. Here's one question that influences it increases it immediately. What do you see that I might be missing? Oh my goodness. Capital V for vulnerability. And that's kind of a fluffy word for some. But when you go in as the leader and you admit that you could be missing something and you ask them what it is that you might be missing, oh boy, engagement just went straight up. That is impact. It's not force. It's not pressure. Now let's consider this point. Your influence expands when people feel seen. This one's simple, but it's a game changer. People follow leaders who see them, their strengths, their effort, their potential, and their fears. You don't have to agree with everything they say. You don't have to solve every problem. But if people feel invisible around you, your influence is already gone. I love the quote by Andy Stanley. Leaders who choose not to listen will soon be surrounded by people who have nothing to say. And that is a silence you never want to have as a leader. Leaders with real impact slow down long enough to understand the human being in front of them. They read the room, they ask the right question, and acknowledge exactly what's happening. A line I often use with executives: influence grows at the speed of trust. And trust grows when people feel understood. Don't ever go down the path of, Carl, that's fine, I just don't have time for that. And I completely understand that. I just want to bring up that if you don't have time to do that, you will be forced to have time to do exit interviews, to go through hiring, to go through training of new people, when if you'd slowed it down, you could have kept the brain trust that you just allowed to walk out that door. Don't want to do that. So some final thoughts. You don't maximize impact by trying harder. You maximize impact by becoming more aware, more intentional, and more human in the way you lead. If you want more tools that help you lead with clarity and courage, visit us at coachinggroupinc.com. We have courses and resources there that go far deeper than we were able to with you today in a few minutes on YouTube. Until next time, please remember, leadership isn't what you know, it's what you choose to do next. Thanks for being with us today. We're always delighted and honored to be part of your leadership journey.